It's hard to imagine Scarlett Johansson being anything other than the star she is today. However, her childhood in New York City was a lot more gritty than many fans realize. Plus, her personal life hasn't exactly been smooth. This is the stunning transformation of Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson was born in New York City on November 22, 1984. Her twin brother, Hunter Johansson, was born just 3 minutes later. Together, Scarlett and Hunter were the youngest of 4 siblings. Johansson spoke to Interview magazine about her experience of growing up in Greenwich Village in Manhattan. Apparently, her family lived in a housing development. She first went to a public school and then one for the performing arts. But back then, Johansson said public school was much more diverse. Johansson explained to Interview, a lot of the artists in the neighborhood had kids who went there. In an episode of Inside the Actor's Studio, Johansson opened up about her family's low income, revealing,
"We were living on welfare, we were on food stamps."
She added that her mother tried to shield her kids from the difficult experience. By all accounts, Scarlett Johansson showed signs of being destined for the acting world from a very early age. As the actress explained in an interview with The Guardian, "I was always a big ham. It's like I hopped out of the womb and said, I will perform." Additionally, Johansson once had a tantrum in a talent agent's office when she was 7 years old because they weren't interested in her. Johansson recalled the experience, telling The Guardian, "I was like, devastated. I decided at that very moment that my whole life was going down the tubes." It's clear that the young Johansson was doggedly determined and wholly passionate. Soon, Johansson's mother found her daughter an agent, and the young Scarlett began auditioning for commercials. Johansson told The Guardian, "It was like being in a beauty pageant. The other moms were really scary, and it was awful, a really sordid scene." She added that she and her mother had dramatic fights because of the tension. Eventually, Johansson stopped auditioning for commercials and only went up for film auditions, and soon enough, she'd won her first role. Scarlett Johansson has sometimes been described as a method actor, a technique that's often associated with actors going way too far and becoming dangerously immersed in their roles. And while Johansson did spend some time training as a method actor at the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute, that's not how she became the talent that she is today. Johansson's acting training started pretty early on in her life, when she was just 7 years old. As she explained to Elle, Johansson mostly relied on her own instincts as opposed to adhering to a specific type of training. Johansson revealed to the magazine, "I learned early on how to manipulate my emotions. As far back as I can remember, I've been hyper-aware of human behavior and able to mimic it somehow." It sounds like Johansson learned how to act on the job by trusting her gut, rather than training in the infamous method technique. As Scarlett Johansson explained to Interview, her early movie roles were pretty life-changing. She was just 8 years old when she appeared in her first feature film, North, in 1994. Apparently, the experience opened her eyes to the fact that she could actually make a career out of acting. However, it wasn't until 4 years later, when she was 12, that Johansson really hit her stride with acting. Johansson told Interview, "I'd made probably 5 or 6 movies at that point. I was doing a lot of really emotional work, but I remember finding that place of realizing, oh wait, I can manipulate this thing that I'm doing." Johansson's performance in North got the industry's attention. As she told The Guardian, she got a whole slew of scripts about young girls in emotionally complex scenarios. From that point on, it was pretty clear that Johansson was more than a bright and happy child actor destined for Hallmark holiday movies and rom-coms. Scarlett Johansson is known for being a somewhat mysterious, alluring actress. That's thanks to her signature deep, raspy voice and her penchant for complex, dark roles. It turns out, Johansson started to build a reputation for her maturity from an incredibly early age. As Elle pointed out, her famous Old Soul has been written about extensively. After appearing in The Horse Whisperer at the age of 12, Johansson was praised by the film's co-screenwriter, Richard LaGravenese, who told The Hollywood Reporter, "Scarlett Johansson brought a heartache to the part that seemed to come from experience beyond her years." As legend has it, famed director and actor Robert Redford once said that Johansson was, quote, 13 going on 30. Later, when Johansson was in her late teens, the director of Lost in Translation, Sofia Coppola, said to The Guardian, "She makes you feel like she has been around the world. She has a coolness and a subtlety that you would not expect. You feel like she's seen a lot." For Johansson, this reputation won her a series of complex, mature roles that defined her early career. After her super busy childhood acting career, Scarlett Johansson graduated to a more adult role in the 2003 film Lost in Translation. She spoke to Vogue about the life-changing effect the film had on her. As the publication explained, it had been a wild year for the young star, who was suddenly everywhere. She confessed that the media attention after this film was hard to navigate. Johansson also spoke on The Howard Stern Show about the experience, telling the radio host that shooting the film was hard for her. Johansson also confessed.
I felt sort of out of the loop. I was 17 years old when I made that movie.
Johansson added that she and her co-star, Bill Murray, had very different energies on set, but when the cameras started rolling, everything clicked. Based on the hugely positive response to the film and the spike in industry interest in Johansson, it's safe to say that Johansson shone in Lost in Translation, even if she felt a little out of her depth at the time. In 2008, Scarlett Johansson got married to fellow actor Ryan Reynolds. As she told Vogue, "Ryan and I always kept our story private. Sadly, the relationship didn't last, and the couple split in 2010. As Johansson explained to German magazine, Gala, the divorce was initially depressing. However, with the help of her friends, her brother, and her grandmother, Johansson found the support she needed. She also explained that she wanted to keep the reasons for the split private, but did concede, I can be overcritical, with myself and with other people." Later in 2014, Johansson explained to Glamour that she had indeed learned a lot from the relationship, revealing, "I think I know myself better. I feel I know now more of what I need in a relationship, what I want in a relationship." She added that her time with Reynolds had given her, quote, "more tools to communicate." One of Scarlett Johansson's most defining roles was in the indie sci-fi film Under the Skin, directed by Jonathan Glazer. The film was shot in 2011 in Scotland and famously used real people from the streets rather than actors. Additionally, as things clicked into place on set, the shoot became an unforgettable experience for Johansson. She told The Guardian in 2014 that she ended up collaborating with Glazer for 3 years, becoming intricately involved in the creative process and giving suggestions about plot and dialogue. The film was also an odd experience for Johansson, who ended up improvising most of her lines. Johansson told the Denver Post, "It took me several weeks of shooting to figure out what I was playing." In the end, the character ended up teaching Johansson a lot about her nature and caused her to ask herself a lot of questions. Johansson explained, "I think when you get older, you start to get curious about yourself in a different way, not just how can I get what I want." The 2017 Me Too movement kicked into high gear when a series of actresses called out the misogyny and sexual harassment they'd experienced in Hollywood. And while Scarlett Johansson began acting well before the movement took off, she's never been afraid to speak up for women. Back in 2008, Johansson discussed the difficulty of aging as an actress. Then in 2014, she claimed that the nickname ScarJo was, quote, "lazy and flippant," saying, "There's something kind of violent about it."
I don't think anybody in my actual life calls me that.
She has a point. Her male co-stars don't get these names. Additionally, in 2019, the star revealed during a round table for The Hollywood Reporter that she'd never identified with the public's image of her. Johansson told the outlet, "When I was working in my early 20s and even my late teens, I felt that I sort of got somehow typecast as hypersexualized. I guess at the time it seemed okay to everyone. It was another time, even though it wasn't part of my own narrative." In 2014, Scarlett Johansson announced that she was expecting a child with her then-fiancé, Romain Doriac. Later that year, she gave birth to her daughter, Rose Doriac. However, her relationship didn't last, as she and Doriac split up in 2016. Unsurprisingly, motherhood has been completely life-changing for Johansson, as she explained to the Daily Telegraph in 2015. "I think having any kind of huge, life-changing event happen to you, such as having children, is very, very inspiring." Becoming a single mother also inspired Johansson's work in films such as Marriage Story and Jojo Rabbit. Johansson confessed to USA Today, "With single parenthood, there can be a loneliness and this constant feeling of doubt, that you don't know what the hell you're doing and you don't have anyone else to bounce it off of." Still, all difficulties aside, having her daughter has brought Johansson a great deal of joy. In speaking about her daughter, Johansson added, "When I look at her, I feel full of hope and positivity." When many people think of Scarlett Johansson, they inevitably think of her as the Black Widow. In Marvel's long-running Avengers franchise, she first appeared in the wildly popular films in 2010, when the character was introduced in Iron Man 2. After appearing in several MCU films as the Black Widow, her character got her own film due for release in July 2021. In 2019, Johansson called the experience, quote, life-changing. At the Avengers Endgame premiere, the actress told the crowd, "It's been such a pleasure to come to work every day. I feel incredibly fortunate to be with such a beautiful cast of creative people, open-minded people, and it's been an incredible journey." Additionally, in 2016, Johansson spoke to Michigan Avenue and revealed that the Black Widow was actually her favorite role to date. It's been an interesting journey to take a character and grow it over these years, and peel the layers back and be able to, as you do in life, grow with this person. In 2019, Scarlett Johansson announced that she was engaged to SNL actor Colin Jost. The pair originally met back in 2010, way back when Johansson was still married to Ryan Reynolds. However, it wasn't until 2017 that the couple made their relationship more romantic. They were spotted on a date a few months after Johansson's second divorce. By the looks of things, the couple couldn't be happier. When Johansson hosted SNL in December 2019, she gushed.
This place means so much to me. I have so many friends here, and I met the love of my life here.
And it seems that Jost is equally head over heels. In his book, A Very Punchable Face, a memoir, the actor said that from their very first meeting, he saw she had, quote, a grace and a smile that he had never seen in anyone else. In 2020, Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost tied the knot in an intimate ceremony. By the looks of it, the couple seems very happy together. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more list videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.